Hello and welcome to the Blades Ramble, the view from the mountains on a Thursday night for you guys. Oh, it's been a busy week being a Blade this week. Got lots and lots to talk about. And yeah, Jimmy's earning his money this week, that's for sure. Been on all the time. Wilder's done 2 press conferences this week, stuff to talk about. Talking about the transfer window, just looking at what the side might be. I think there's a lot, most of the Ramblers are on the same page when it comes to what sort of team they want to put out. There's a few differences and differences of opinion on that, but we'll run through all that in a minute. First of all, I just want to introduce you to our guest tonight. It's very privileged to have with us Sonny Glasby of Glasby's Pallets, one of our primary sponsors. Hello, Sonny.
How are we doing? Thank you for having me on.
No worries, pal. No worries. So, obviously, we've got a lot to cover, mate, because I haven't been on for a week, and since then we've had the close of the transfer window. Obviously, the reappointment of our saviour and hero Chris Wilder, which has been universally championed. I think Ruben's done him a massive service with that, because I think, for me personally, I think it feels like you don't know what you got till it's gone sometimes, do you? And I think that penny's dropped for a few fans this week. And I think Wilder's alluded to a few things in his pressers that I want to just go through with you, just to see what you think about that. So all in all, it was a very busy end to the transfer window, very un-Sheffield United-like. It's slightly earlier finish. I think the window was due to slam a little bit earlier this year at 7 o'clock with like deal papers going in. And you know what the rules are. Sometimes they get announced at 9 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock rock. And the next morning sometimes in it as well. But it's the transfer window. We had a lot of action towards the end, loads of good business. And the one question I want to ask you is that which of the new signings do you think are you quite excited to see, and who do you think is going to light up Bramall Lane this next week?
Oh God, it's a good question, because to be fair, like you said, it's a bit on Sheffield United. Like, fax machine must have been on this time for to get these transfers in. We're usually quite slow to it, to be fair.
Absolutely right.
No, listen, I'm really happy with him. Ogbeni and Tanganga for me, and Ben Mee. I think there's a lot of different characters about each of them sort of 3 players for me, but sort of Ogbeni with the pace. I don't think we've had that at Bramall Lane for a while. And sort of attacking presence he brings, I think he'll be exciting. Tanganga, I went to Middlesbrough away, and even though it was a very bleak game, he was fantastic. He was really good. So I think, what he's got to bring this season, I think is an improvement on Anel, which is fantastic. And for the fee we got him for, really good business from Bramall Lane, 100%. And Ben Mee, I just think, like I said, I think it's a very young squad. Characters like Ben Mee and Ings brings a bit of experience, sort of like the Billy Sharp and Jagielka when Jags came in. Sort of just a bit of leadership, someone to sort of calm the dressing room down and in the game. So listen, it's a solid transfer window, but them 3 for me and me sort of standouts I'm really excited to see.
Yeah, I think it was an ingredient that I think it was widely acknowledged it was missing from the squad, wasn't it? I think Wilder's alluded to it a couple of times in his pressers about the average age of the squad. I think we were the 3rd or 4th youngest squads. He mentioned in Leeds as well. Not really experimenting or having to experiment with kids, as it were. And the kids, obviously, a breakthrough season for City Peck. We saw a bit more of Sariki, etc. But going into the final throws of the window, we were looking at Bindon and Barry, who are prospect players. Let's face it, unproven at this level. And what he has done there, he's certainly bulked up the average age. Anyway, certainly we're an older squad, but age isn't necessarily a bad thing, like you say. Sometimes it's about experience, trying to see out games, and just guiding some of the young ones through it. I think that it's almost an underestimated thing, I think, in football, about looking at the raw stats, the technical things like the pace and skill and other things. But half of it's played up here, and I think that's kind of what he's alluded to a little bit in some of his pressers about. There's more to managing a football team. He's mentioned that a couple of times as well. It's the game's not played on a laptop. And I think he's mentioned a couple of things about on and off the pitch and like connecting with the characters. And I did get that vibe from Ruben Sayers, that the whole emphasis of team and like the camaraderie and the I don't know, it's relating to players, isn't it? It's soft skills, it's people skills that good managers have, as you know. It's the same in a business. It's the same in football. You always need people who are going to, when you're under pressure, who are going to organise people and get people G'd up and concentrating and doing the jobs on the field. And at this level as well, we sort of witnessed it, didn't we, at Bristol? I thought there was like the lapses in concentration and the closing of players in the box. It really cost us after half time because, like we said, we saw about 20 minutes of the vertical football that we were after.
Oh, God.
It was just pure agony. So, yeah, but it was those little bits of concentration and little things that Ben Mee and Tanganga will certainly know where to be and when to be there in order to intercept balls. And it's sort of something that's sometimes missed, isn't it, in terms of how much the game is actually played up here and how much you need to motivate yourself, one, but also concentration at key times. You know, it's one slip and you get punished, don't you? Especially the higher up the go. So yeah, he's I've got a first one. It's probably one of my tricky ones that I was going to talk to you about tonight, mate. Do you think Chris Wilder has almost come back on a higher plane than what he did when he left, than when he left? And is he even better thought of? Because I use the word taken for granted a little bit, and I use the term, you know, what was the term? I sort of said, do you think Wilder will be better appreciated now he's come back in the circumstances that he had compared to when he left?
Yeah, I do. And like I said, after Wembley, it was a bit of a bad hangover for everyone. People who are pro Wilder, people who aren't. So I think these last 5 or 6 games, whatever it's been, it's just been so bad. It's brought everyone to an all-time low. And who's the best person to sort of get back in and bring that sort of belief back, galvanise the team, as he said in his presser? I think he's going to be better off for it. I think there's no pressure on him at all now. I think it's what he can do best is man managing. I think Sheffield United has always had a really good man manager, sort of like Warnock, Bassett, and Wilder's up there now. So I think fans will get behind him sat there. I think it's going to be electric. And yeah, I just think this time round, I think this might be the best ever time in his sort of 3 times he's had under being a Sheffield United manager. I feel like this could be probably the best season because, like I said, we've got a big hill to climb. And him up top leading the squad, I think he's going to do a fantastic job.
I'm with you. And I'm glad you said that because I think you just summarised how most of the fans feel about it, but about him being reappointed. But also, I think sometimes it's a thing that I ain't heard anyone talk about it yet. The hangover of losing a playoff can be quite, obviously not. I don't want to use the word demotivating, but sometimes take a little bit of time to get over because they were this close, weren't they? And when they come back, sometimes I'd imagine it's a hell of a job to try and get them back focused on what they're doing, trying to forget about it effectively and move on a little bit. I almost think, and I know that I might get some kickback for this, he's almost come back and Sayers has done that job for him because I think that the players now leaving, and like he said, he doesn't feel like he's coming back for a 3rd time. He feels like he's just had a big holiday basically in the middle of it. Is that the players now will be like, he won't need to motivate him, will he? He'll have to say a few words to him, and they'll be running through brick walls. And also, it's the vibe off the fans already. You can feel it coming through already. And I just feel like, do you reckon the board might have done him a little bit of a favour in terms of getting the squad back on track? I can't see him not being on track now. Can you?
No, I honestly, I think, to be fair to the board, and like I said, a lot of fans have slated him, a lot of people have praised him, to be fair to what they've done towards the end at Windsor and getting him back, because I didn't think it was going to happen. I really didn't. But I think obviously Sellers bringing it down here for him to sort of pick up where he left off and sort of forget about the sort of Wembley stint. And I think people are just going to get behind him now and just forget about that. What's done is done. Let's start on sort of a new sort of level now and standard. And yeah, like I said, with the board, I think personally the board's made his sort of value and his reputation even better now amongst the fans, among himself, and I bet he's buzzing to be back. And no, I think even like the players seeing the video of Peck and Campbell looking at him, I wish my missus looked at me like that sometimes. To tell you, pal, honestly, you could just tell relief in the squad. He's just there, so. Honestly, I don't think it's going to take much convincing them players and the board to get them back on his side. I think everyone's there, united again as one, as we should say.
Yeah, good. I like the way you got the pun in, mate. That was very good. But no, did you see him on the stairs, like doing this to City on the way up? I was like, City was like, like this. It was like Christmas morning, weren't it? So yeah, it was great. Yeah. Now there's a couple of narratives around the board. I know that we can't fault them for the money they've put in. We haven't heard from them yet, so we don't have any connection to this board whatsoever, as far as I'm concerned. When it comes to, we know a bit about Bettis because he's put his head above the parapet before, but we don't know much about any of them, do we? The El Tuki and Stephen Rosen or whatever. We don't know who they are, do we? Really? And I don't know. Again, well, I was one of them that used to say, "Oh, if you don't." When I was a kid and when I used to watch football, the first chairman I knew of was Jack Walker, who was the Blackburn chairman who'd basically bankrolled them winning a title in the early 90s when I used to watch footy. And that was kind of like before that, I had no idea, and it never really crossed my mind who the chairman was. They were just these people, weren't they, up in an office? No one ever saw them. Yeah. Interviews, no one knew who they were other than the internal staff at the club. But now I think, it'd be nice to hear from him at some point because it's kind of like that whole thing has changed, hasn't it? A lot of them are quite celebrity, and it's hard to make a judgment call on them. And the thing for me at the minute is they've got quite a mixed press, haven't they? Because I don't know if you saw Simon Jordan trying to dig them out on TalkSport the other day.
Yeah.
He was saying about how embarrassing it was, and they, hanging their heads and all. Like there was a few like little comments made about, what are they doing, etc. And for a change, he didn't have a go at Wilder because I don't think he's his biggest fan, frankly. But he was sort of on Wilder's team with this one. And on the flip side to that, and a little bit more on the Ramble, we've sort of said you've got to admire a little bit the courage to make a quick change, the courage to chuck some wedge at it when you feel like you need to, like they have done. And you kind of have to have a little bit of admiration. But obviously, we're not happy about what's happened the first spell of the season. Clearly, we're not. But on the flip side to that, you can only try and amend for a mistake, can't you, at the end of the day?
Yeah, just going back to obviously like I say about chairman and speaking out, it's like I think it's a bit harder in this day and age because a lot of them are sort of groups now, aren't they? It's not just one individual person these days. It's like an investment group or some sort of massive board members or different individuals apart from it. Yeah, it would be nice from them to speak, but I think what they've done in sort of the window, what they've done with bringing Wilder back, I think actions speak louder than words sometimes. And I think, end of the day, they've got an investment in this club. I think they know the size of it and what the fans expect out of us. And yeah, I think they're going to get us back on track now. What they've done, and yeah, I just think if as long as, like I said, Wilder gets his time and they give him a bit of time to get this squad going, I think we don't need to hear from him as long as we're getting points on that leaderboard. That's all I really care about, to be fair with you, but because it's been absolutely shocking.
I know. Something I say to my lad a little bit about like not trying to wish your life away and not like enjoy the journey. Do you know what I mean? Rather than the destination sometimes. But I think there's been a bit of discussion on the Ramble, and I'm not digging anyone out for that. But already there's been a lot of chat about the succession plan. It feels to me like we've gone from not having Wilder to having Wilder back, and now everybody seems to be talking about what's the next thing after that. So what happens when Wilder's hanging his boots up and decides that he's had enough, or he gets fired, or whatever it is? We're talking about like the next stage after that. And I know that they've promoted Mickey Collins up through up to the first team setup. From the youth setup, and I know that they've obviously Keith Andrews has gone down to become the manager at Brent. I still can't get around that, frankly.
Me neither, to be fair with you, bud.
Would you like to see maybe a couple of coaches coming into the club who could then be sort of molded by Wilder to be a successor almost? I know that Nick Montgomery's made some big strides over in Australia. He's been working with Spurs. I believe he's back at Forest with Postecoglou. I think he is.
Yeah,
that to me the other day. Are these the type of guys we should be getting in to sort of try and teach them the ways of Sheffield United? I think that there's a lot more people accepting, because it used to be quite a critical point people used to make about you have to be a blade to be a manager, or to become a manager, or you have to know the club and the spirit of the club, because we do keep getting our fingers burned, don't we, with foreign coaches and people who aren't of that ebb. Do you know what I'm saying with that?
Yeah, 100% I do. And yeah, I think you're completely right in what you're saying. I think sort of Eckingbottom's sort of the prime example for that. was came from the rankings below. Obviously, he had a few manager stints, didn't work out for him. Came to United. We sort of embedded him into sort of the three at the back, and obviously he must have learnt from Wilder and Nil, and came in after Jovanovic didn't work out, and look, got us promoted. So I think the proof's in the pudding. So yeah, it would be fantastic to see younger coaches get to know the club, know what the fabric is of it, the DNA, and get that chance to get promoted up. And like I said, Wilder's pretty much it on it, hasn't it, really? Because like I said, after the Ipswich game, when they were saying he was coming back, I didn't really want to go back to that, because obviously it's his third time coming back. When are we ever going to... It's not Chris Wilder FC. I love him to bits. I am a pro Wilder fan. But it's like we haven't got any plan B after that. So maybe sort of a director of football might be a way forward as well, and sort of restructuring a little bit on how we can sort of progress moving forward after that would be fantastic. Yeah, I completely agree.
Do you mean Chrissy rolling into that role, the director of footy role, or do you mean someone just coming, or him rolling into that role later? Because
Sorry, mate. Yeah, I'm thinking, because if Wilder goes into that, or sort of comes onto the board in some way, because he knows the DNA of the club, he can sort of recommend sort of managers. I remember when he obviously left after the Palace game in the Premier, recommending Cooper and stuff. Steve Cooper was being a fantastic manager, so he's got some knowledge of the game. So someone like that with that sort of CV, who's from ball boy to player to manager to then director of football, would be fantastic. So someone with that sort of knowledge would be fantastic. Yeah, I like that.
I think I do like the idea of that being somebody that Chris gets on well with, that he can sort of not be seen as like a burden. Do you know what I mean? He talks about the shirt being light, and he talks about taking pressure off the players. Do you not think if Wilder's in at that director of football level, if somebody comes in from external who maybe wasn't his choice, or maybe someone that he doesn't know that well, do you not think that it wears heavy on him, that it's going to be because Wilder's just sat behind you, just watching what's happening, and going like, oh, you've got to have that really close bond, aren't you? If you're going to have somebody sort of who you regard as like senior, or somebody who's going to come and give you advice and things like that, I can see why for some it'd be brilliant, and I can see why for others it'd be a massive, like a big weight and a big shadow to stand in. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, to be fair, putting it that way, you probably are right. But I just think, because we've never got it right after sort of Wilder, and we've got to be so careful now. Like, look, we're 5 games down. We're bottom of the league. We're below. Obviously, I'm not going to mention the names, but we're below a club that's failing across the road, who's got no structure at all, and we're below them. So I think it's got to be a wake-up call now, that sometimes we've got to really do our due diligence and getting the right person in that fits our way of football, and just the way we are as a club, because we've never been that sort of modern sort of football. And some of the recommendations when Wilder got us out, it was sort of Sean Dyche, who's again not modern football, sort of Gary O'Neill as well, and a few, like I said, Danny Rowe, which I did not agree with at all. But like I said, our fabric of football isn't modern, I don't think. And I don't agree with that vertical football, as they may say. But I just think, yeah, like I said, you might be right. The shirt might be a bit heavier because you've got Wilder as a backup indirect, but he can just come in at any point. But I think let's just be careful next time. Let's take our time and get someone who's actually going to get it right. But yeah, I'm happy he's back, but hopefully we get it.
It was more like a vertical drop, wasn't it? It was like falling off a bridge.
Oh God, honestly.
I know, but there was one thing I thought of today. Just putting it out there. This will delight obviously United fans, and I might get some kickback from others. But is it conceivable, Sonny? Right, I'll put you under this pressure. This could be, with the state of that comedy club down the road, this could be tomorrow. Could be the last day ever that Sheffield Wednesday are above Sheffield United in the football pyramid. I think that at this minute, without being saved, that is realistic at this point for me. It could be the last day tomorrow that we'll ever be below them.
Yeah, I think it is. I think like they're under another embargo apparently, aren't they? So it's just getting from bad to worse, and it don't look like there's any light sort of at the top of the tunnel. So yeah, I just think it could be. I think they will get relegated this season, even if they somehow get a miraculous takeover. And I think honestly, with the players we've got, the manager we've got now, and again the board, they've proven themselves. So we have got everything going for us. We've just got to now get these points going, and we won't mention them in the same sentence for a few seasons, I don't think. So yeah, hopefully onwards and upwards and leave them behind, mate.
Yeah. I think it's. I think we've married it about right. I think we, like you say, someone said that was Jimmy asked me the other day if the feeling was the same watching them against Ipswich that Premier League season. I just remarked that no, because we've got the tools. There's optimism within it because at this level we've got the tools to go and win football matches, and in the Premier League we just didn't have the players, did we? It doesn't. And sometimes even a manager like Wilder who can get the best out of his players. Certainly when we talk about things that he's mentioned about running distances and duels won and things like that. When we were in the Premier League, we were first and second in the 2 seasons we were up there for distance covered. That's one of them. And the duels thing, he will not like that at all because we have got some combative players that are just obviously not doing it, which begs the question, doesn't it? Because it is quite amazing what a difference a manager can make, and I'm trying to decide because I look at the manager, for example, I look at Unai Emery. So I think about him at Aston Villa at the minute. So he went to Arsenal, he got laughed out the place, didn't he? Yeah, like they literally, I thought they were quite disrespectful from what some of the I was hearing from the players and how they treated him, etc. And we've had this 5-0 performance, which second half was abject at best, absolutely shocking. And we're going to see something different on Saturday. Now, I know that's down to a manager, and you spoke about Ekinbottom and after Slav. We're talking about Wilder after Sayers now. We're going to see players play differently. But also, by the same token, is it about the quality of the players? Because I think you need a combination of both. But if you look at Villa now, they can't score a goal, can they? They haven't scored a goal yet this season, I don't think. And where for the last 2 years, for me, Emery's been a massive success story of the Premier League, probably right up there with one of the best managers, considering what he got when he walked in and what he got when he got out. And it's that combination, isn't it? Because I still think with the squad that we had under Sayers, I still feel like they should have been doing better. Do you not think?
Yeah, yes and no. It's like you look at our team sheet and you think, bloody hell, look at some of the players we've got. Even I think to last season, apart from the midfield, I think defence and attack, night and day. I think we're way better in them sort of positions. Midfield, I do think we're a little light, but Matos might prove me wrong. I thought it was good against Ipswich, but just going back to like sort of you said, we're Unai Emery, and obviously we're Villa, and sort of going back to sort of Wilder when we got firstly promoted with Premier League, we didn't have any really massive big summer signings. We had personalities who were ready to fight for the ball, got under the manager, believed in him, and played a style of football nobody could ever touch. So I honestly think, it can be down to the manager and his tactics, but it also the players have got to buy into what the manager's saying. And I just think with Sellers, them players did not buy into it at all. But that again, that don't mean you're just down tools. At the end of the day, you're on a big contract, you're playing for the badge, and you've got 30,000 fans behind you. So it's not right to do that. But I just think for a successful football club, it's got to work both ways. Manager's got to put out a sort of tactics and a team that the players can believe in, and I think it all works in harmony.
I think Again, I know it's a combination of both, but I was trying to think about. It's just sometimes it works and it doesn't it? With certain players, with certain managers, and I can't figure it out why, but it is what it is. But so I think Wilder's been really clever in the presses this week, and my takeaway from it is, he's had he's been quite respectful, but he's also said a couple of comments about there's more to managing than just setting up formations and other bits and bobs. And he said he thinks it's a bit disrespectful how sometimes people forget about all the stuff that goes into just getting, what kind of what we had last season, almost a well-organised side who can do all these things. I mentioned it to someone I was talking to him about Alfie Gilchrist, for example. And certainly after the performance the other night from Ben Godfrey, I was like, people were slating Alfie Gilchrist at one point, and they're slating him because he wasn't great with the final ball. So in that final third, his final ball or his attacking output was always left a little bit. He wasn't the best, was he? Considering he was playing right back, and I know he'd always said he was a centre half. That's what he's always remarked upon. But he was part of a defence that conceded about 3 goals in 12 games at the start of the season. And I was thinking to myself, we sort of overlook that a little bit. We overlook all the all the things that we kind of take for granted. And I think when it's going wrong, like it has been going wrong, you sort of look at some of those fundamental basics. And I've spoken about like people like Phil Jagielka being amazing at that, and like just knowing where to be. And it's almost like the unseen stuff that when you're a fan, like, oh yeah, he's there and he's cleared it. But he's there, but he's cleared it because he knows where to stand and he knows where to be, and the defense is organised and there's a line and there's this and there's that. We sort of overlooked that a little bit with Gilchrist, and I think that he'd have been a good signing for us. I think if he'd have come back, I'd have took him personally over Godfrey. I know that Jimmy wants to give Godfrey another chance, and he was enthusiastic about him coming. I was a little bit more apprehensive because I feel like at Everton he was getting bombed out, and then he got bombed out a little bit at Atalanta. I know it's a higher level, but I thought the performance from him the other night was poor. I think the interesting thing for me now is the response, isn't it? I think that was part of my disillusionment at 2 or 3 games in was, poor performance, but what's coming next? Because if you're going to do it again and again and again and again and nothing changes, and I almost put that on Ruben with us picking the same sorts of sides.
Yeah.
Sometimes we take for granted a little bit the stuff that we don't really notice when we're playing. We notice the guy that skins someone and scores a goal, but we don't always notice the positioning unless it's a last ditch tackle or something like that. And it's just, I feel like we've got a little bit more of that know-how, haven't we, with Tanganga and me, maybe not Godfrey, but certainly we've got that little bit more know-how. You'd imagine, you'd like to think there won't be so many soft goals going in.
Yeah, I just.
Oh, he's gone. Oh, he's disconnected. Unlucky. Oh, sorry. I was hoping to hear what he had to say there. The thing that I was going to say was from the press conferences this week. Here he is. He's back.
Bloody rang there.
It happens. I was going to say, mate. So sorry, I was just going to say. I think this week in the presses, he's got a really good balance of being really positive, using terms like powerful, the strength of the squad that he's got to work with. And he said, I'm excited about working with the squad. So he's almost like bulling the players up, but in the same breath, he's gone back to those statistics about duels and running distances. And I think he's doing quite a clever job of promoting the players, giving them the belief, the confidence, but also saying to them, look, you haven't been working hard enough. And if you're going to get success, that's one thing that is a bit of a 100%. It's a given, isn't it, within a Wilder side, that they all just fight for the badge and they always run hard and they always try and tackle and they go down fighting and nobody leaves anything out on the pitch. And again, I think he's trying to put that into the players that if you're going to be successful, you've got to run around a bit and you've got to work a bit harder and you've got to want it a bit more than what you've shown already. And he also spoke today about simplifying it for the players. I think he's been really clever this week with how he's gone about wording things for the players to listen to.
Yeah, I think when he said obviously like doing the basics is such a big thing in football. Football's a simple game, as he said, and it's just getting them basics right, running for the ball, being the first one there, second balls. We've always dominated that, and we don't need to sort of like, and again, we don't need to do this modern type of football because the players you've got people like Hamer, Ogbenina, even Hoare to a certain extent, and Campbell, and these amazing players who will give you that bit of special moment in the game. He knows he can trust them players to do that for us and create. But if we just get them basics right against Charlton with the absolute core of that squad, we are absolutely going to dominate most teams in terms of quality and just team battling. So I'm really excited. I really am. I just think he's going to galvanise the team. I think the fans will hopefully get behind him. Everyone will be, or the majority will this time. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I think if we get on a decent win of games, I think we'll be untouchable, mate. Honest, I really am excited, pal.
I think the squad looks in really good nick. I'm particularly excited about Ogbenny. I don't know if you saw any interviews that he did. I just feel like he's absolutely going to be Wilder's cup of tea, and I'm looking forward to Summit. I feel a bit for Brooksy and I feel a bit, for Sariki. But I think just Ogbenny's going to be so good for those two players in particular and trying to educate him. And he seems like a wiser head. But obviously, did you hear about his splits for the 100 metres? Did you hear about that?
Yeah, I heard the time on it. It's crazy, isn't it?
10.2. I was like, what is that? Mate, there's guys running 100 meters in the world championships who are just about on 10.2. He could be a sprinter. So we're looking forward to having some of that, because I can't remember having that since, honestly, that kind of pace. Well, other than what's
Ollie Burt, mate.
but yeah, you've got to be able to kick the ball when you get there. That's the difference, and not leave it behind you. But I think about, like, probably, well, before your time, Sonny, mate, it's Tony Agano and Adrian Littlejohn. I think Adrian Littlejohn was probably the fastest player that I can remember being at the Lane since I was a supporter. So yeah, but interesting. What I want to do, mate, is just go through some of these comments, mate, and there might be some questions for us, just to get the Ramblers involved. Positive vibes back in a couple of days. Bad dream over. Onwards and upwards. David, we are all with you, my friend. Hope you're well, Paul. I'm looking forward to the game. What a difference a proper manager makes. Excited for Saturday. Chris will have the players revved up. 2-0 win, Hamer and Ty. Yeah, the two bench boys from the last game. White flag in the air from Ruben. It's shocking. But yeah.
Oh, God, yeah.
Who'd back against them pair? Big Tony will be like, that's the bet, lads. That's the bet. I've no doubt about it. Me or Jaffet as the skipper. Yeah, I'm with it. I'm all for that, actually. I don't mind Jaffet at all. Personally, I give it Ogbenny. I think he's a ledge already. Is England? Yes, he is, John. Yes, he is. For this game, I don't think it's anything serious, but he's not involved on Saturday. Good evening, gents. Hope all is well. Just on my way home as my partner just gave birth. Congratulations!
Oh, congrats, mate. Well done, Nigel.
Ledge, awesome, mate. Oh, I say Nigel. Nigel's missus. Wait.
Yeah.
Be very careful, mate, when you're dishing out the congrats. But no, it's fair play to you. I'm glad everything's gone smoothly, mate. And everything's going to be good. Going home, that feeling of getting them out safe, mate. It's a good feeling, that's for sure. So yeah, well done, mate. But need to get back to our eldest son, Mr. the presser, obviously. Yeah, Nigel, don't count on hitting a lot of pressers and stuff, and be ready to miss most things until you're in bed at night, and then be ready to wake up. Evening, lads. Hey, Lucas, mate.
Evening, boys.
Boys. Who's that? Who is that?
Who is that?
I don't know who it is.
I didn't know that.
Under some alias, I know.
Yeah.
Strong arm, yeah. Even if we lose, it'll be an electric atmosphere, mate.
Whoa, come on.
We're not losing, mate.
Yeah.
Imagine if we do, it'll be carnage, won't it? 90 after 90. Hope he's got the team to gel and utilises them accordingly. I just see him. Jimmy used the term "get running him over." I feel like that it could be a bit much for Charlton on Saturday. I think the players. Yeah, I don't see anybody off their game. Let's put it like that. I'm just happy we have options now. We do have a lot of options.
We do.
In formation, which is an interesting question, because there's been a little bit of Wilder said he thinks he'll play the same as what most of the fans would want. Here on the Ramble, myself and Jim in particular have been talking about 3-4-1-2 or something like that.
Christmas tree.
Would you go through the knobby Christmas tree? Yeah, the cheap Christmas tree. Would you do a 3 at the back, or would you stick to the 4?
To be fair, me and my uncle mentioned this a few days ago. I would love a 3 at back. I just think some of the players that it suits, especially Ogbenny now, that right wing back, and Burrows as well, because I think he's been pretty poor, to be fair to him, and he's got to take that. But him last season were fantastic, and I think in the more sort of pushed up role with maybe like sort of a Ben Mee behind him, I think he'd be fantastic. I really do. So yeah, I'm all for the 3 at the back, and sort of having a Duffy role here, which honestly that'd be fantastic. That'd be absolute cheat code for this league.
Then you get your 2 up top, don't you? Because
yeah,
I think I know Ty can do a job like that, but I think he worked well as part of a 2 towards the end of last season. I think Danny Ings and Cannon would just be better suited to a 2 as well. I think you sort of bring them into the play a bit more.
I'm happy you said that, because I get a lot of stick on Cannon, because I don't rate him as a sole striker. I don't. I think he looks lost. I think he gets a bit of a harsh stick. I just don't think he's had the right opportunity here. But I think he would work better so much in a 2. Well, against Burnley, with Moore next to him, he's got a fantastic cracking goal, and he looked a bit better. So. Yeah. I honestly think with the 3 at the back, 2 up top, with Gus Hamer behind you, bloody hell. World's your oyster, mate. Honest, I think it'd be fantastic.
Yeah, and I think it utilises our wide players even better. It's certainly Burrows, I believe, is better in that position. Tariqi's much better in that position than being part
Yeah.
of it. Or I just, like you say, with the numbers we've got at the back and the experience and the physical attributes of the defenders, I just feel like it lends itself that way. I can't decide whether Wilder's chucking everybody red herrings this week when it comes to the team. He almost went through and sort of did the lineup 4-2-3-1 and sort of named 2 players for every position. And he's a bit of a wily customer in recent seasons, Wilder. So I'm not fully sold just yet. I know that he played it last year and it would be easy to do. But I also know that he's been making noises about being flexible in his approach and how he goes about it. I think if we do play 4, the thing that makes me think it could be 4-2-3-1, not just because of what he said, is that I believe that if Burrows bombs on, I don't see Godfrey if he's going to play there, which I think he will. I see him splitting to become a part of a 3, because if you've got Hamer on that left-hand side, but he cuts inside, doesn't he? So we've got no natural width on that left-hand side, really, if Hamer's playing there, which people think he might do based on Wilder being the boss, obviously. I think but if Burrows does sort of bomb on naturally, and Godfrey just tucks in a little bit to make a 3, I think you've almost got like a bit of a hybrid system where he can sort of bomb on a little bit. And obviously, Ogbeni on that right-hand side just it levels us up on that side as well. So it'd be intriguing, because I'm always thinking when they line up, it's not how they press and it's not always how they attack, is it? So what it looks like isn't always how it plays out in the game, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll be intrigued to have a watch of that on Saturday and see what is actually happening with the system. But no, it's been a big talking point this week about who should play where, and some people like Ben Mee. Some people want McGuinness. Some people are switching and matching the midfielders. I think the one that suffers could be Louis Barry, because I automatically don't think he's a first choice player now. I think he's probably an impact substitute. In Wilder's eye, certainly if Hamer's going on that left-hand side.
Yeah, to be fair, I felt a bit sorry for Barry, because I think he's had a bit of a rough run, hasn't he? Going from sort of Stockport, smashing him in, doing really well, then getting injured at Hull, getting his chance at Championship. I don't think he's had a fair shot, but like I said, I think if Aim is on that left mid and it's between him and Barry, I think we're not doing the sellers and putting Aim on bench. I can assure you, I'm sure it's going to be him. But no, I think it's got to be him. But I was going to ask you, to be fair, Paul, what do you think on the McGuinness signing? What's your rating on that?
Oh, interesting. Again, Jimmy had quite a negative view of him, because obviously he was an ex Wednesdayite, and I think he'd struggled in a game that he'd seen him play. But he's 24-year-old, and he moved to Luton, didn't he, for quite big money. So I think there is pressure with that. And 24, you wouldn't say he's at his prime just yet. And I think a centre half tends to get better with age and experience.
Yeah.
I thought he was okay against Ipswich until it started obviously it was going wrong. Obviously Godfrey quite culpable for a lot of it, but I thought he was okay against Ipswich. He was doing quite well certainly for the first hour, in terms of his duels. He missed a header or two, didn't he? But he did play a couple of passes through the lines, and that was levelled against him that he was a bit of a cart horse and he couldn't really pass. But he made some good passes through the lines into midfield. So I want a reserve judgment on him, really, Sonny, because he's 24 and he's played one bad game where everybody played bad. So it's kind of like, I don't know. I give him some time. I think he will play. He will start instead of me, based on the fact me played in the reserve game in the 21s game this week. Yeah, he did. But I think that's for minutes, though, isn't it? I think he's trying to get minutes.
Yeah, fitness.
I think he did 60 minutes or something like that, 60 or 70. So good minutes for his legs. But I think McGuinness will be the first choice on Saturday. Personally, I think he will start him. But we'll wait and see, won't we, mate? It's hard to judge him. It's hard to judge him. He was in a side that were going down, but we said the same things about Vinny Souza and El Ahmedzodzic, didn't we? When we came down to Prem, they were getting pelters from the fans in a struggling side, and you can't always judge players in a struggling side, because some of them haven't got the character to output. Like Robbo was the main man, wasn't he? He was thought of as the best defender at the time. And that's changes, doesn't it? I hope we haven't got too overconfident for an instant turnaround. I think this is fair point, Chris Wilder has had a little time to change the players' negativity from past games. Let's not worry too much if we don't win on Saturday. He will turn things around eventually. I think you'll see a different performance, Ian, in that you'll see a simpler, more direct approach to the whole game, and it'll be based around endeavour, front foot play, speed, and certainly enthusiasm. If somebody drops off the level or looks like they're not putting in 100% and hasn't crunched somebody within half an hour, they'll be looking at his bench, because the bench, to be fair, Sonny, I don't know if you agree, it looks as good as it's ever going to look on Saturday, surely.
Yeah, I just, like I said, going back to the previous comment about options, like at Christmas time, we were having under 21s and under 20, sort of 23s playing. So to have them options off of the bench and to turn the game around, especially in the Championship with 46 games across the season, it's such a good problem to have a big squad. I know he's on about cutting it down, but yeah, I'm really excited to see what we do this season, especially with the options off of the bench, 100%.
Yeah, I think he definitely he even mentioned it today about some of the young lads. He'd have liked them to go out on loan, to go and get some experience, because, like you said, they're not really going to be featuring this season for Sheffield United. And there's players like Marsh who we've all got high hopes for down the line, I suppose. Ryan Oney as well, who we probably aren't going to get much of a look in a Wilder team this season. I don't think so. Yeah, I think it would have been beneficial, but. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see, won't we? I think there might be a loan or two. We'll have to see. He hasn't really mentioned much about Bindon since he got here. To be frank, I'm a bit worried about him. We'll have to wait and see. It's David, Cornish Blade. Here he is, legend. Evening all. Can't wait for Saturday. Should be able to hear you down here in Cornwall. Absolutely right. Very good, mate. Up all the rambles, up the blades. Like and subscribe and hype, gentlemen and ladies. The modern way. Still think we are shy of a solid centre mid.
I agree.
Yeah, I think there's, like you say, young, inexperienced, but potential players, isn't there? I think Matos and Samari, there could be a diamond there. There could be a diamond between the pair of them, or even two. So I think we just need to, again, it looks like the least experience at this point in time, with Peck being the probably obvious first choice player in there. But we have got Arblaster's come back. He's talking a lot about Davis today. I agree. But Davis has got to he's got to put 15 games together before I'm convinced. I'll be honest. People think he's a great footballer. I know you can tell he's got ability. He's played all his football in the Prem, so he's definitely got ability. But he's going to have to put. It's not his fault he gets injured, but we kind of knew about his record before he arrived. So for me, he's still got something to prove to the fans.
Yeah, I think the best ability is availability, as our man would say.
There you go. I think that's the prince, isn't it? That's one of the princes. You can have that, mate. Quoting, good evening, Prince Abdullah, if you're watching.
Getting back in some capacity, 100%.
Yeah, that's it. He definitely is watching most of the time. Evening, Mounty. Hello, Blades. Mounty. Hope you are doing a watch on Saturday. Can't wait for the Oxford away for my first Blades match of the season. Oh, cool. Nice one. Yeah. Yeah. I'm hoping to do a watch long. Yeah. That's part of the plan with my new system that I've set up. So yeah, it should be good. Hopefully I can get it sorted. The problem is Wilder is the main man you turn to when in trouble, as you haven't got the right people in the right place. Oh, it sounds like an opposition fan, Brett. Sorry, I'm not sure who you support. What happens if Wilder can't turn it around? Again, it's a good question, because what happens then? But I think they're going to have to give Chris Wilder some patience. I think the fan base wouldn't have a lot of patience. I think they could handle that. It's going to take some time. I can't see it going sour unless obviously we lose a few games, and Wilder's then got to manage himself a little bit, because I was saying before about how his heart's on his sleeve. It's important to us. We're Blades fans, okay? It's important to us as fans, isn't it? But it's important to him. He's a Blades fan, but it's his livelihood. It's his pension. It's his job. It's what he wants to do. I think he'd take this job over. I'm going to say any job, but he'd certainly take it over 98% of jobs, I'd imagine, that would be available. So I think it's so important to him, and he's going to put everything in. And he's got a proven track record as well, Brett. I think he's not just at Sheffield United, but his previous jobs as well. I know people point to his little stints at Watford, 10 games I think he did there in Borough, but the one all before that, he's a proven winner. all the way from Alfreton to the Blades. So I think he will get it right, mate. But it's a good question, and we'll cross that bridge when we come to it because we're staying positive. Dean, Cooper, Tanganga, up the Blades, McGuinness back three, and Sariki Burrows wing backs. Or Dean knows his stuff, mate. He's with us.
Dino's a family friend of mine, to be fair, mate. Just to shout him out, to be fair to him, because Dino's all right. Dino's all right.
He's all right. Samari, Matos, and Peck, middle Hamer, Campbell up front. All these big ideas. He's got some good ideas, as Dean. I like it. We could have done with Sean Dyche as Wild as an assistant. Mark, people were saying we're not going to get him to be our manager because he don't want to step down to the champ. He's not going to come here to be number 2. Maybe when he's coming to right towards the end of his career, Jim Smith style with Harry Redknapp. I was thinking about when I want to say that. What happens if he loses a couple on the trot? Yeah, it might happen. Yeah, and we're going to have to basically say we'll take it on chin because we know that if he stays around long enough, it'll come good. We have to cross it when we get to it. We're riding the positivity wave, so you can keep that one. SWFC. Less than 90 tickets available for Saturday. Goes to show it. It's box office. Thank you, Luke. For the update. Evening, Paul. Sonny must agree with John B. Still think that we are short of commanding midfielder. How do you feel? Again, we'll suck it and see with Matos and Samari because I think that between the pair of them, I'm hoping there's someone in there who can partner Peck in that twosome role. Someone who's willing to stay back and sit in front of the defence. From what I saw of Matos, he looks like he's going to be a good option. Very mobile and gets about the pitch well. What do you think, mate?
Yeah, I think he's sort of like what Wilder was saying in terms of sort of getting interceptions and duels won. I think he's got that written all over him. From what I saw at Ipswich, and there weren't much to see, but he looked like he got around the pitch well. It looked like he was trying his best, sort of similar to sort of the Tanganga performance at Middlesbrough, just trying his best to do what he can in such a badly run side. But I do agree with Sheila to a certain extent. I do like a midfielder with a bit of experience, a bit of sort of seasoned pro, sort of like your Norwood, Fleck, and sort of like I said with Sousa. He's he filled the pitch out a little bit with his size and attitude. I think we are missing that. But like I said, if Peck and Matos can get it right, why not?
I think we should have gone for Sheaf when he moved to.
I don't know, to be fair, because like I said, his injury record weren't great. If I'm right, I'm sure it weren't great. Okay. And I would have liked Brown from Sunderland, if I'm honest. I'd have liked that because he was good for Preston, captain as well. I think he'd have done a bit of leadership in that midfield, and that is sort of pride I'd gone for if it were up to me.
Interesting. You might have got a bit of kickback. I don't know if he'd start in my midfield. I think it's hard because we haven't got our Blaster. If we had Blaster, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see, mate, what happens with it. I'm with you though. I think we could have done with going and getting somebody a bit more experienced. Yeah, Nige, Brian, congratulations, Nige. Happy days, mate. Let's wet baby's head with a victory on Saturday. Simon J, Cy Jordan, he's always at it, mate. Using his big words, showing off to make friends. He don't make many friends up here, does he?
No.
Guys, great stream. Looking forward to the first game of the season. Thank you, Scottish Blade. Indeed.
Top man.
Yeah. Don't think he will, mate. Okay, this is about if he can't turn it around. Thoughts on the new embargoes? Okay, a bit of banter with the Wednesdayite. After the first 5 games, I just want to go and enjoy. Yeah, that's it. Dean, absolutely spot on, mate. It's just the feeling that you're going to go there and actually enjoy the match and a prospect of something positive. I was at the point where, I had no belief in that Ipswich game going into it. I had no belief we were going in there to get anything based on the performances.
It was based on lineup for me, mate. I knew we weren't going to get anything after that. When I saw that lineup, I was gobsmacked. I was absolutely gobsmacked.
Well, I think them 4 at the top could play for about 3 days and not score a goal. Honestly, it was so limp, weren't it? John, okay. Billy Sharp could be lined up by Wilder. That's a great shout.
Won't mind that.
I know a prominent gentleman at Sheffield United who fully agrees with this as well. Good evening, Gary Sinclair. How are you doing? Evening, gents. I think Chris has made 1 or 2 comments in his presses regarding computers and lack of flexibility that indicate to me he's determined to prove a point. Thoughts on long-term centre-back pairing? I think Me's like an amazing fallback option, isn't he? I think he's going to try and get me fit to see if Me's going to take McGuinness's place. Is how I feel about it at the minute. I think he's going to give him 20 minutes, half an hour, blood him in, probably in a bit of rotation for McGuinness, and see who's going to take that other spot. Tanganga's place for me, as long as he's fit, it's nailed on. And then I think after that, I think there's going to be some good competition for that second spot. And where that leaves Bindon, probably in the Bindon, I'd imagine. Sorry, lads. Dad jokes all night, mate.
That was up there, mate.
Mate, I've got loads of them, mate. Absolute. My kids just roll their eyes at me. I pick them up with their pals and I say stuff to him just to wind him up, and he just looks at me like that. That's the little side eyes like the kids do. Evening, gents. I think Chris has made one or two comments in his presses regarding computers and lack of flexibility that indicate to me he's determined to prove a point. Yeah, I can see us swapping the centre-back pairing. Again, I'll say it again, Lewis. I think he's priming me to compete with McGuinness. I think McGuinness will keep the shirt for Saturday. I think he's priming me for that. So we will wait and see. To be honest with you, if McGuinness plays well, I've nothing against him keeping his spot. Although me is a great option, and again, me just gives us that perfect thing to go three at the back. Personally, I think he's ideal for that. Be brilliant in the middle of the three. I think it might be his best way to utilise him. James Beattie would be perfect fit to be a coach. Yeah, that's a good point. Best mates for Sharpie as well, isn't he? I think him and Bill had an understanding and a friendship. That might be the line to groom Billy for future manager. Sounds good. There's a lot of support for it. Billy Sharp coming back. Jackson Billy, yeah, for a couple of seasons under Wilder and the new Wilder and Nell. No, not Nell. I'd love to see James Beattie. There's a lot of shouts to James Beattie here all of a sudden. He's not really been mentioned, has he? I'm so glad that Wilder's bad. I'd like to see the Prince return as an advisor. Me too, yeah. I'd definitely like to see that. Knowledge of the club, help out in the long run. Yeah, it's I think it's kind of like, I think it's already been proven that they need someone who actually knows a little bit about footy. It would be a start point, wouldn't it? And certainly the Prince, I think, has enough credit in the bank with the Unitedites for people to get behind him. So yeah, I'm with you. Pablo, thank you for that. Spot on, Pablo. Lots of support. Never mind for the time being about the successor. Yeah, me too. I'm with you there, Steve. I think we just need to look forward to next week and the week after, and then see where we are before we start worrying about that. I'd have took War over Godfrey. You're talking my language tonight, Dean. Spot on. Proper right back would have been good. I think Godfrey.
Yeah.
He looks like he's doing a job out there, doesn't he? To be frank, he doesn't look like that's his position. But there we go.
No.
Like, subscribe, and share. Thank you, Brian. Always helping us with that. Congrats, Nige and wife and baby boy. Indeed, big congrats to Nige from Sheila as well. If it's to lose on Saturday, if the players give all, yeah, that's right, Brian. Yeah. As long as we see the players running through brick walls, we'd take a performance, wouldn't we, Sonny? At the minute.
Yeah, just progression, mate. That's all we're asking for. Just a bit of progression, to see a bit of identity. I don't think we've seen that in last sort of 5 or 6 games under Sellers. So, like I said, if we give it a good go, every player puts 110% in as they should. We're happy with that, mate.
Yeah, I think the fans again will be absolutely on point on Saturday. I can't see it being any other way. My score for Saturday: 2-2. Eamon, come on, Eamon, we can do it.
Positive, man.
Father wants Suter in Jan. I would not be surprised at all. See you later, Tyler. Come back, Harry. Kissy face. Beautiful. What's on his team for Saturday? There he is. He's not even on and he's on. He's not even on and he's on. Go on, Sam. What are you saying, mate?
Well, it's going to be a 4-2-3-1, so I'll stick to that sort of structure because that's what it's going to be. I think it'll be Cooper, Godfrey, Tanganga, McGuinness, Burrows. I think it'll be Peckham, Matos as your two, and then Hamer, Ower, Ogbenny, Campbell. I think that's what it'll be.
I'm with you, mate. That's I think that's shared by most of the Blades, to be fair.
Yeah.
I think we're going to be much more attacking. Chirac, sir. Last season finished teams off this time with a solid defence at the back. Chirac, with you, pal. Love it. Well done, mate. Not sure McGuinness was a Wednesday fan, Paul. No, he played for him, mate. He was goddamn South, wasn't he? Nah, Brian, he's not a Wednesday fan, mate. He's but you know, we call our players Unitedites, don't we? Sometimes. Can loans be terminated at any time? There's always conditions on them, Bri. To be honest, I think usually if you do send them back early, sometimes there's a fee involved. Or you might have to pay the wages that you promised them and things like that. So I think there is, unless the club want them back, I think there's always I think every single one of them slightly different in terms of the makeup of every loan deal. Where
I don't get this, by the way. Sorry, where is this hype thing? Sorry, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Everyone keeps saying it. I don't know what it is.
So when you go on YouTube,
yeah,
after I think it might be after you've finished the stream, underneath you have the comments that come in about the stream from external people who've seen it and watched it and then want to say something. You've got and next to it, there's another bubble, and that's the comments that were made, like these comments that were made during the stream. And then the third along there is there's a third little thing that you can scroll along to, and it says hype, and you can add hype points. If you go on, you press hype, and what the hype thing does, so it says, is it puts it out to more people catch the content. Just for it's not always on now. It might not be on your stream as you're watching it, but it might be like in an hour's time or when the stream's finished, like that. But if you're going back to watch it, you can it works. Sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not. So I get why people don't always know. Dino screwed it up. Can't think what that means. They were serious questions but no answers. Okay, I know. Well, we'll see what we will. Again, we're still below him. Let's just hold fire. 5 games time. We'll see where we are. Man Mountain. The answer is I'm a Sunderland fan, but I love the Blades Ramble. Come on every live. Happy to talk about the Blades. Nice one, Brett. Love that, mate.
Fair play to you, pal.
Yeah, absolutely fair play to you.
Good luck for the rest of the season as well, mate. Because it looked
indeed.
Really
I think you've emerged as for me the favourites to stay up out of the three that have gone up. Looking at what I'm seeing at the minute. I think Sunderland have done some amazing business as well. I think you've nearly improved every position. So
makes it even worse for us, by the way.
Well, we don't. But we have to get past it, don't we? Because we can go over that 15 times. We should have been up. That goal shouldn't have been in the slab. See the goal in the Champions League last night that got given. Did you see it?
No, I didn't know, mate. No.
There was a goal that was given in the Champs. I can't remember which game it was, where the player has basically ran straight across the keeper's path. In a massive offside, like 3 yards offside, and they went to the VAR, and the VAR didn't chalk it, and I was like, mate, I was like, how have you not disallowed it? He's literally stood in front of the keeper. It was it the Liverpool game? Is it Llorente? I think it might have been that Llorente, the first goal against Liverpool. I was like, that is a joke. I couldn't believe it. It was anyway. We digress.
It reverts back to that moment, doesn't it? That was a turning point. I'm just happy you said that because everyone says that to me as well. That was a turning point.
Maybe the owners should recruit Andy the Blade to be the go-between. Listen, if Andy the Blade knows his football clubs, mate, he worked for Everton for years, didn't he? He definitely knows his way around a footy club, pal. Don't worry about that. One criticism of Wilder last season was his stubbornness to change things, and the games weren't going right, including delayed substitutions. Do you think it will change? I think he will approach it. I think he might. I think he has sort of. I don't know. I think he learns things, doesn't he? Like, hopefully he learns about things and listens to what people say. I think that was something that stubbornness is part of is one of his best qualities, but it can also be one of his worst. And I think that's what you kind of get with him. We talk about his behaviour sometimes being not exactly what maybe the executives wanted or whatever. It's because he's a fan and we want him to be a fan, but then when things are going wrong, we don't want him to react. And it's kind of like you can't have the best of both worlds all the time. But I think he seems really measured in what he's been saying in the press, certainly since his return. And he certainly wants to obviously keep the board on his side because that's the way he wants to go. There will have been feedback from the board, I'd imagine, as to why they sacked him. And I gather he'd probably be trying to make sure that sort of conflict doesn't occur. Sonny, do you reckon?
Yeah, I agree. just going back obviously to like the substitutions, I was going to ask you, do you think it's down to the lack of depth we had last season though, as well? The sort of the options we had coming off. You look at that bench now, Paul, and you look at that. There's some game winners there. There's some that can see a game out. I just think the bench from last season to this season, I think we'll see a bit of improvement on that.
When you listen to ex-pros or pundits of people talking about players and including players and players off the bench, etc., they use the term trust a lot, don't they? They say about he clearly doesn't trust him, or he does trust him, and because it's there's a lot riding on it for the manager. And if you've got a lad who's, like you say, 20 years old, wet behind the ears, like Brooksy, for example, Brooksy is a match winner on the right day. He's also going to give the ball away 7 times out of 10 on another day. And I think that's what trust is. Like, it's a bit of consistency and almost what you're going to get from the player, if you understand what I mean.
Yeah.
I think you're right in what you're saying. When you're dealing with kids, it's one of those is, yeah, you might uncover the next superstar football player, but you also were going to get performances some days that you're thinking, why was he so good for the last 2 weeks and now he's chucked one in there and he's been poor or whatever. And I think it's like you say, it's about trust, and I think those changes will come sooner if the trust is there. And certainly with the way that he's come about it this time, and even the threat he's made to the players, based on the fact they haven't won any duels and they're not winning races. He's already told them, hasn't he? You'll be off after 5 minutes. He even said it today. He was like,
yeah, he did, yeah.
You last 5 minutes in my team if you're not going to blood, sweat and tears, basically. And I think if people do that, we used to moan about our best players coming off after 60, 70 minutes. I think if they're running themselves into the ground, we might have to just accept that they're not equipped to do 90. It might just be that. But I know that it's part of the reason I think it cost us last season. When you look at the way that it went down, certainly at the end there. Right, cheers for the hype lesson, Paul, mate. Yeah, I tried, mate. I did try my best. Well, ultimately, Sonny, a couple of things from you, mate. Score prediction, first of all.
I'm going to say 3-1 to Blades.
3-1. Plenty of pints out of those half-pint pots, as he likes to put it, I think. And plenty of togetherness that he spoke about on and off the pitch. It feels like the fan base are gearing themselves up for a big weekend. I feel like we're together. I feel like it always feels like we've been on a good run and we're all just waxing lyrical about this club. It just feels like everybody, the fan base are on the same page. Wilder's on the same page. The players certainly look like they're on the same page all of a sudden. And I just want to make sure that the 12th man, as Delia said, the 12th man here, is going to be ready to go on Saturday, because it will make such a massive difference if the place is bouncing. I'd kill for an early goal. I would kill for an early goal. What we don't want to be is 0-0 at half-time, toiling. I want to be 2-0 up at half-time so everyone can enjoy their bulty pie and pint of whatever you like. With a bit of relaxation and a bit like, oh yeah, don't worry, the Messiah's here, gives a cuddle.
We're back.
Yeah, it'd be good, wouldn't it? But thank you, Sonny. It's been an absolute blast, mate. Thank you for coming on. Definitely doing this again, mate. You've worked your way in there. It was a really enjoyable stream to do with you, so thank you for that. Thank you for everybody who's commented. Make sure you like, guys. If you're not subscribed, we're nearly at the 10K. I know that it's been a big ambition of Jimmy's and certainly the channels as a team. We'd love to get to 10K before Christmas Day, just because it rhymes. That'd be a bonus, wouldn't it? Anyway, but thank you for watching. That's been the view from the mountain and the view from Sonny Glasby of Glasby's Pallets.
Top man, thank you very much. And most importantly, up them Blades.
We better do it Jimmy's way. Come on, you red and white wizards!
Up them Blades.